Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Chicks Talking Pics. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Sandy, one of your hosts, and Jenny, she's the other host. So if you've seen some of our podcasts before, or should I say YouTube channel before, then welcome back. And if you haven't, we are two kind of nature nuts. We judge together for a long time, and we are here to discuss a few more images this week. So stay tuned. We're going to get started here in a minute. Jenny, where are you at today?
I am in sunny San Diego. Been having some nice weather lately.
I know it cooled down up here in Valley Center. So we're like in the mid 80s today, which is awesome.
Yeah, we're in the 70s, but we have a little more humidity than you have.
Yeah, probably. So Jenny and I were both at a little event Saturday night. How did you do, Jenny?
I did surprisingly well. I really didn't expect to sell too much and was pleasantly surprised that people were willing to walk out with a piece of art.
Oh, good. And I did the same. I sold a few things, a couple of prints and a lot of note cards.
Yep.
So that was a good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little, pardon me?
Yeah, it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, it was a little during the art walk in one of the local areas here, Encinitas Art Walk. And we got to sell some of our work there. So if you missed it, you missed it. Maybe next time.
Yep.
Okay. What's that?
Yep. Next time.
Next time. All right, let's dive in. We've got 3 images today and 3 images from Paul. Let's see if I can get us to forward. And here's Paul's first image. And Jenny, I'm going to let you go ahead and go first on this one.
Okay. So one of the things that I like about this image, you'll see from this later images, this is quite different. But he's obviously experimenting, and I like when people step out of their comfort zones and do something that's different. Normally we don't see purple shadows, so that obviously was manipulated there to match the colors of the flower. So that's kind of interesting. And he's working on a diagonal, which is always kind of nice to add some strength to your image. One of the things that bothers me, and see if I use the annotation tool, is the focus is all on these stems here and not the flowers. I kind of wish that the flowers, like maybe these ones, were more in focus. We have focus over here, in these areas, and not up front. So I don't know if it would have been a good time to maybe focus stack, or just decide on a different focal point. I don't know. What do you think, Sandy?
Well, I totally agree with you. I don't think you could make that happen with a small aperture. If you're at f/22, I still don't think you could get everything in focus, and you may not want it in focus. I don't know, maybe he just wanted those stems in focus, but it is a little distracting to have the flowers so out of focus.
Right.
What I think is really neat about this image is the shadow and the fact that it is mimicking the color in the space. Mm-hmm. And that diagonal that's happening. I don't know, I might even crop in on just the shadow and partial flowers. I don't know, play with that. I always have to play with an image. I always say that in these reviews. And so for me, I would take the crop tool and start playing around to see if I could kind of eliminate some of the out of focus flowers. I'm not sure how you would do that, but
yeah. I was actually doing that when I was first looking at this image and thinking about if it was just if you had just cropped in, let's see, my draw tool isn't working. you know, just had these
Yeah.
flowers here and
Yes.
the shadow.
Yes. Something like the flowers coming in from the top left-hand corner. So I would crop that top off. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That might be a really good abstract-y image. But I do like this one. I still like it, even though it is kind of out of focus. I don't think competition-wise it would hold up. I don't think the judges would give it this much of a discussion.
No.
Which is an issue, because you only have so much time. When we're sitting and judging, Jenny, we have like seconds to run through. And my first thing would be to say pass. But when you sit down and discuss these images, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking at it from a different viewpoint now, but that's not how the image was turned in. So,
right.
yeah.
And, and for competition, it would be what category do you put this in? Because the amount of manipulation, it might only be able to be in digital manipulation or digital art. And that's the type of category that's, there's just over the top images in that kind of category. So
Right.
you're a little hamstringed as far as putting it in a competition, but if you're doing something for your wall, that's completely different.
Right. I think it would really be kind of cool. It's like a high key image that you could put on your wall, kind of an abstract high key image. That's how I would go with this one. I really like what Paul has done with the shadows and everything. And then if I was going that far as to do like a high key image, I would start cleaning the image up. I know it's shot or that shadow is against a stucco wall. You can kind of tell that stucco or some kind of rough surface. And I would tediously take out every single dingle little dot I see in that.
Right.
If I was going to hang it on my wall.
Yeah, and there's
like
a few dots up in the top right corner that.
Right, especially those.
Yeah.
Right. If nothing else, those dots in the right-hand corner, those specks. Yeah, I would, that's interesting though. It's kind of fun. Paul, I'd like to see you revisit this and send another one back in. This will be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Now, I think usually we put up what kind of f-stop, shutter speed, and all that stuff that the person used, but there was no information about this added in the metadata about this image. So we're going to have to skip talking about that.
Okay.
Which, like you said, a bigger depth of field or a smaller aperture would have maybe improved this image somewhat. But I think the focal plane is probably the most important thing to look at here.
Yeah, or just moving the focal plane.
Right. Okay, good job, Paul. All right, here's Paul's second image. I like this bird of paradise. And I've seen a couple that Paul has done in this series, and I think this is the best. I really enjoy the color. I like the lines that are intersecting. The light, the way the light's falling on the flower itself, and it's kind of backlit and coming across the scene to the leaves on the right. I like this one for that reason, and the reason that you've got a dark background now you're working with, which makes all that beautiful color pop off the page. This is an interesting one for me. I don't know, unless I really nitpicked on this one. Like for instance, right in the base of the flower, there's a little white like string there. I would take that out. I might sharpen up the two ears of the orange part of the flower that is going up. That one that is kind of pointed is beautiful. And I think making the other one pointed would be awesome too.
This one?
Yeah, that one. I think I might clean that up a little bit, because all the other points on the flower are nice and sharp, and that one's kind of overexposed. I might just clone some of the background. Now, some competitions you can do that, some you can't do that. So be careful when you're entering a competition. You're reading the rules that will tell you whether you can manipulate the image or not, and to what extent. Jenny?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, I love the way the light is hitting the flower and kind of making it glow. I think there's a little too much light hitting all of the leaves. And I would suggest toning those down. I think for me, they're a little distracting from the main flower. I love the dark blue that's behind them, but I think I would tone down the light hitting the leaves a bit.
Yeah, they're maybe a little competing with the flower itself.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're saying.
That's a good word, competing against it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't bother me as much as it bothers Jenny, I guess.
Yeah. It seems a little busy because I want to be, I mean, obviously the flower is the focus. That's where the sun is hitting. I'm assuming it's sun. It could be artificial light, but and then you have, this other light. I mean, and you could make a gorgeous composition of just the light hitting those leaves.
Sure.
And so I think it's just adding more to the image that isn't helping the image.
Okay, well, that's a good point. Good point. Yeah, I would be happy with this, though. I do like it a lot.
Yes,
yeah, I do like. I like the tension and I like the busyness of it for some reason. I don't like that in all images, but this one, Paul, I think you've done a great job. Very dramatic. I want to say very dramatic. Yes, and the blue in the lower part of the background, you've got darker blacks in the upper part, but the blue in the lower part is kind of complementary to the yellow in the flower and the leaves. So nicely done.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if Paul gave us any information. No information about no technical information. Secretive. Yeah, he's being secretive. That's okay. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to add it. I look for it and put it up because I think we all learned from it. All right. So Paul's third image. Jenny, go ahead.
Okay. So, I mean, being able to capture a hummingbird just sitting still like this is great. I'm not sure if he's shooting through something, because there's this distracting lighter area on the lower part of the image, and again up on the head of the hummingbird, which I don't know if he's shooting through glass and it's some glare. So that I find a little distracting, and probably could have done a little bit in post to get rid of that with maybe a gradient. But the other downside to this image, I mean, it's a great image. She's a gorgeous little hummingbird, but there's a lot of noise. And I don't know if it's from sharpening or if it was just shot at a really fast shutter speed, which you're probably using if you're shooting hummingbirds. But if you zoom in, you can definitely see a lot of noise. And like down here, there's a lot of artifacting from that noise. And then on the bird, I mean, if you zoom in on the eye, you can definitely see it get very pixely.
Yeah, I agree. And are you passing it off to me, Jenny? Or
yeah, I'll pass it off to you.
Okay. I see this little spot here that I don't know what's happening. I think it might have been part of the stem that came up behind the bird that was distracting, and Paul tried to get rid of it. I don't know what that is, but I might look at fixing that. There's just a little bit of I don't know, some kind of artifact there that I think could be.
Yeah, I was assuming it was part of the plant sticking up, but
Yeah,
yeah, if you could clone that out, it would remove that distraction.
sure. And you know what? This is my thought kind of on that, kind of that blur at the bottom and then blur across the head. I wonder if Paul was shooting through a fence, because sometimes when you're shooting through like a chain link fence, you'll have, you may not get your lens right through that opening, and it can catch that fence, especially if that fence is in light. If there's highlight on that fence, it may just kind of take away the sharpness from your subject, and that could have been what was happening down here and maybe even across the top here. I don't know that, but I'm just kind of, just guessing at that. Yeah, I think it is noisy. There's a little bit of noise. I love the background. Yeah, I see that, what you're saying, Jenny, down there.
Yeah, it's a little extra light, like there's some sort of,
Yeah.
like you said, maybe fence or something there.
Yeah, down at the very bottom.
Yeah, that could be cropped out easily.
Right. And the background, the whole thing seems a little noisy to me. So I think I would run it through some kind of a post-processing, like a denoise application, or even if you were shooting this, I'm kind of assuming your ISO might have been really high also, because you were trying to keep your shutter speed high. So that could have caused all that noise. Of course, we kind of know that high ISO numbers tend to give us a lot of noise in the image. Yeah, I just don't think it's quite sharp enough. I think it's the whole head of the bird is quite noisy. It's a lovely image. Print it small. Don't try to make it big. If it's going in a competition, though, I'm not sure that that you could, it would pass through in a competition, unfortunately, because I do love the image. I think it's very nice and sweet.
Yeah,
Let's see
it's a great, the bird's in a great pose.
Yes.
And like you said, the background and everything is just spot on, but yeah, just, the amount of noise and everything like that is just enough to hold it back just a little bit.
Right. And let's see if Paul gave some, now on this one, he does have some information that we can work with here. So ISO wasn't that high. It was only 320. So then I have to assume he cropped in really tight on this image. And that's why we're just not getting a clean, clear picture. Because f7.1 should have been great for this, should have done the job. It did the job. It blurred your background enough that it's not distracting. 1/60th of a second probably should have done fine for this bird. So something else is happening here, and we don't know how Paul took the picture. So I don't think we can guess. And that's all we've done.
Well, we know it's been cropped since it's a square form factor.
Right.
But yeah, how much he cropped in, we don't know.
Right. Yeah, so I would say try to maybe shoot with a longer lens. And if you can, that'd be great. But not everybody has a long lens. So don't go running out and buy a long lens for hummingbird photography, because there's other ways to do it. Use a little fill flash, things like that. So great job, Paul. Well, thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that you sent those in to us. And if you're interested in having a couple of your images discussed, please send them in to chickstalkingpics@gmail.com. And we ask you to send it in JPEG format and have your longest side at 1920 pixels, if possible, if you can do that. And leave the metadata in there, because we can always discuss your ISO and your f-stops and things like that, and kind of make assumptions on what you're doing. Jenny?
Yep. And if you want to watch these, then we post a new episode every 2 weeks on YouTube. And you can go hit the subscribe button and the notify, and you'll get a notification when that new episode goes live.
All right. Well, Jenny, it was nice talking to you again today, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, I think, right?
Yep. 2 more weeks.
Good. Yeah. And send your images in, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.